There's a stranger living inside you, a version of yourself you haven't met yet. But one day, they'll be all that's left of you. And when that day comes, the you listening right now, they'll be just a memory. You probably think you know who you are. You carry this idea of yourself like a well-worn map, your personality sketched in permanent ink, your convictions carved in stone, your regrets etched so deep they feel like part of your bones. You tell yourself stories. I'm the kind of person who, I would never, I've always, as if these are immutable truths. But here's the terrifying reality. The you believe in isn't real. At least, not in the way you think. Your personality, it shifts like desert sand, subtly in different contexts, dramatically over time. The convictions you'd swear you'd die for, studies show they're often post hoc justifications for gut feelings you can't explain, and those regrets that keep you awake at night. Neuroscientists have found that every time you recall a memory, you alter it slightly, like a game of telephone with your own past. You're not a fixed self. You're a story, one you're constantly rewriting without realizing it. Psychologists call this the end of history illusion. No matter how old we are, we're convinced we've finally become our true selves. A 20-year-old laughs at their teenage naivety. A 40-year-old pities their 30-year-old ignorance. But the 60-year-old, they know they've figured it out, until they don't. We're like travelers, convinced the horizon ahead is the real destination, only to arrive and see another horizon beyond it. This isn't just philosophical musing. Brain scans reveal that when you recall your past, you're not playing back a recording, you're reconstructing it. Your hippocampus stitches together fragments like a film editor, filling gaps with what feels true rather than what actually happened. That argument you replay in your head, the betrayal you can't forget, they're less like documentaries and more like biopics, dramatizations where you're both the protagonist and the unreliable narrator. We're all haunted by ghosts, past versions of ourselves we outgrew. The idealistic college student, the heartbroken 25-year-old, the new parent drowning in doubt. We visit their graves in quiet moments, whispering, "I'm not you anymore." But here's what we never consider. We're haunting someone too. The future you, the one reading this years from now, shaking their head at how little you understood, is already watching. And one day, you'll be the ghost they're trying to forget. This isn't nihilism, it's liberation. If the you of today is just a draft, then the you of tomorrow isn't bound by it. That shame you've carried, it belongs to a character who no longer exists. That identity you cling to, the smart one, the broken one, the one who always fails. It's a costume you can shed. So who are you, really? Maybe the answer isn't in the past or future, but in the question itself. The act of asking again and again, like a ship rebuilding itself at sea. Because the only thing more terrifying than realizing you're not who you thought, realizing you never were, and the only thing more beautiful, knowing you never have to be again. Change doesn't feel like growth. It feels like loss. This is why midlife crises happen. Why we white-knuckle old relationships long after they've stopped serving us. Why we keep returning to abandoned dreams like unmarked graves, whispering what if to ghosts. We tell ourselves we're afraid of the future, but that's not quite true. The terror is more profound. We're caught in a double grief, mourning both the past and the future, because each requires surrendering the only version of ourselves we've ever known. Here's the neurological betrayal. Your brain isn't a historian, it's a storyteller. Every time you recall a memory, you don't retrieve an intact file. You reconstruct it, subtly altering details to fit your current narrative. That fight with your mother 10 years ago, the promotion you didn't get. They're not events, they're myths you've been editing your whole life. The you from 5 years ago isn't just gone. They're fictional, a character you created to make sense of who you are today. We're all haunted houses. Past versions of ourselves rattle in our bones. The idealistic college student, the heartbroken 20-something, the new parent vibrating with terror and wonder. But we rarely acknowledge the darker truth. We are also the ghost. Right now, as you watch this, some future version of you is looking back at this moment with either nostalgia or pity, wondering why couldn't they see what was coming. This explains why transformation often feels like violence. When alcoholics get sober, they don't just lose the drink. They lose the drinking self with all its camaraderie and chaos. When dreamers achieve their goals, they frequently spiral, because realizing an ambition means murdering the person who carried it. Even positive change requires a kind of death, and we are a species that claws against mortality in all its forms. The paradox: the more desperately we cling to who we are, the more we calcify. Growth demands surrender, not to who we were, but to who we might become. That's the terrifying freedom no one mentions. You are under no obligation to remain the person you were 5 minutes ago. The same plasticity that makes our memories unreliable also makes our futures unwritten. So what do? Do we dig our fingers into the familiar edges of who we are today, clinging to this version of ourselves like a cliff's edge? Do we rage against the inevitable passing of our current self, fighting time itself to preserve what cannot be preserved? Or do we open our hands? Do we surrender, not with defeat, but with quiet courage, to the stranger we are becoming? Existentialists like Camus told us we are the sum of our choices, that every decision carves itself into the marble of our identity. But perhaps the deeper truth lies in the opposite direction. Perhaps we are not defined by what we hold on to, but by what we release. Consider this: your most transformative moments likely came not from gaining, but from losing. The dream that died and forced you to grow in ways you couldn't imagine. The relationship that ended, leaving you standing in the empty space where you finally met yourself. The old version of you that slipped away like a shadow at dawn, leaving someone newer in its place. We spend so much energy searching for who we're meant to be, as if our true self is a treasure waiting to be unearthed. But the secret is this: you don't find yourself, you release yourself. Again and again and again. Watch a moth struggle from its cocoon. The fight to emerge is just as vital as the wings it gains. This isn't passive surrender, it's active transformation. Every time you let go of a belief that no longer serves you, every time you forgive a past version of yourself, every time you step forward into uncertainty without guarantees, you're practicing the most radical act of self-creation. Yet this terrifies us, because it means admitting the you who loved so deeply last year doesn't exist anymore. The you who was shattered doesn't recognize these healed hands. The you watching this now will one day be just a memory to your future self. So breathe through it. And when you feel that ache of becoming, that bittersweet grief for who you're leaving behind, remember, a sunset is simply the sky letting go of the sun so the stars can appear. One day, you'll take your last breath as the last person you'll ever be. And in that moment, will you smile because you lived? Or will you weep for all the people you couldn't be? So here's my question for you. What will the last version of you remember about this moment? Maybe it's time to find out.